Yo, 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 let's get the business.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Good morning to you as well.
Leah the coach.
Leah the coach, Coach Leah. That's
There
me.
you go. The weather's been.
It has been crazy. It has
You've
been,
been back in the States for how long? You were overseas, right?
yeah. So I live full time in Germany, but I'm
Hmm.
from town. My whole family is here,
Right.
so I came in last Wednesday to surprise my mom for her birthday, and it was my
That,
best friend's 40th, so it was kind of a
mm,
hodgepodge. My brother and sister-in-law are having a baby in a couple of weeks, so it just made sense to come home and
the
see
big
her.
4-0.
I know, right?
That's
Oh,
sweet. You got to surprise your mother. Was she actually surprised?
she like no idea. So we'd mentioned it a couple weeks ago, like, oh, how fun would that be if I could come home and
Mm.
just kind of whatever, but she never thought that I would actually do it. So I did have to had to be a little bit shady and a little bit sneaky. So she follows me on Find My Friends because I live in Europe, so I'm like, okay, whatever, you can know where I'm at. I had to like
Hmm.
pretend that it was broken. I'm like, I don't know. Like it keeps turning off because she would for sure see
Yeah.
that I'm somewhere over the ocean. So I had to kind of,
So you had
yeah,
to really sell it.
I really had to sell it. Yeah. And then it was really fun because I stayed at my brother's and we had my nieces and nephews get involved. They were like, Dee Dee, we got you a surprise for your birthday. And so,
Word.
yeah, I was downstairs in my nephew's room and she kind of opened the door and yeah, she cried and it was a whole thing. So loved it.
And shout out to your brother too, man. He's cool peoples.
Yeah, Scott's cool. He's good.
Yeah.
They're like I said, they're expecting number 4 in February.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out
So
to Big Scott.
yeah, for sure.
So, okay, to get in it early, which this is the interesting topic is the ADHD. But to make things clear, you are exactly an ADHD coach. Is that the correct terminology?
Yeah. So I'm an ADHD life and mindset coach. So I
Yeah.
help typically late diagnosed adults
Mhm.
manage their ADHD symptoms. So a lot of the people that I work with were diagnosed later in life and or started taking it seriously later in life.
Yeah, I was going to implement that. I was going to ask you that because
Yeah.
when you grow up, you look at certain kids, you're like, does he have it? He or she have ADHD? And it's always like a label thing, but you don't really want to, you're not sure.
Well, I mean, I think when we grew up, we didn't see a lot of girls diagnosed with ADHD. It was that, little boy in third grade that was constantly disrupting class and, all of that kind of stuff, which is why boys get diagnosed typically. Again, I work with a lot of late diagnosed men as well, but um,
Okay.
boys typically get diagnosed before girls because girls are a little bit more of that inattentive. We're just kind of daydreamers or
Mm,
we're talking a lot, but we're not as disruptive
that's
as
interesting.
that hyperactive little boy. Yeah.
I
So,
wonder, is that more of like a genetic thing, or is it? What do you
mm-mm.
think the main cause of it is?
So ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder and it is highly hereditary. So if you have ADHD, there is a very good chance that a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, cousins, siblings, you're going to be able to
Right.
spot it other places. But
Hmm.
ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder. So you are born with ADHD and it is the way that your brain develops. So
Word.
if everything kind of develops a little bit differently and kind of at a different rate. So your
Hmm.
frontal lobe is affected. That's where all the executive function is housed. We've got,
Hmm.
yeah, the limbic system, the amygdala, where our emotions are. And that's why, a lot of us.
Pineal gland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we've got all these different things. We've got our dopamine receptors are responding in
Right.
a different way,
Hmm.
neuroepinephrine, all of these kind of neurotransmitters. Everything is a little bit different, but not to be confused with bad. I always equate ADHD brains are more like a stick shift, and neurotypical brains are more like an automatic car. So, an automatic car, you turn it on, you put it in drive, and you go. A neurotypical or a neurodivergent brain, you turn it on and you've got to like, oh wait, what's this third pedal over here? Oh, it's a
Hmm.
clutch. How do I find the bite point? Do I need to put it in reverse? Do I need to put it in first gear? Do I need to ramp it up to fifth gear? So
Hmm.
that's a little bit more how our brains work. It's a little bit more like on purpose we have to be. You don't take a stick shift to the garage to get fixed. The mechanic's going to be like, bro, it's a stick shift. You
Hmm.
just got to figure out how to use it. And so a lot of ADHDers feel a little bit broken or behind or, fucked up,
So
but that's really not the
yeah.
case.
So off rhythm, off pattern.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, again, it just kind of depends. If you're driving a stick shift, it's on pattern. You just got to
Right.
figure out what gear to put it in and not
Right.
expect it to drive like an automatic car.
Hmm.
Trying to force ourselves into kind of that square peg, round hole. I have to be consistent. I have to be consistent. For a
Hmm.
lot of us, that is automatically going to set us up for failure. But knowing like, oh, okay, I can still show up and I can still have a morning routine ish, but maybe every morning it looks a little bit different.
So it's more gray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
And more
for sure.
uncertain. You have a upbeat and like a good energy behind this topic. I noticed that. And you
Yeah,
approach it with, you approach it with confidence and boldness, like as far as your advocacy.
yeah. I mean, I think that probably comes with doing this work day in, day out for the past 4 years. You kind of learn to not to invalidate anything, but like don't sweat the small shit.
Yeah.
Like some of this stuff is what it is. I think, like I said, the way that you approach it in kind of like it is what it is. What's in my control? How can I look at this without? I say a lot to my clients, like, where can we drop the drama? Like, we don't
Yeah.
need so much drama about some dishes being in the sink. We don't need
Right.
so much drama about unread emails. Now, there's
So keep it
consequences.
as simple. So keep it as simple as possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, keeping it simple, but more so just like leaning in. Just like lean in to the way that your brain works. How can you work with it versus working against it? But it's still a bitch. Like ADHD it's not fun. And people will be like, oh my gosh, ADHD is my superpower. And if that is you, Susan, good for you. Love that journey. Love that journey
Right.
for you. I do not see a lot of ADHD as my superpower. The
Not
closest
enjoyment.
thing, the closest thing to a superpower is when we can get into like a bit of a hyper focus, but that depends. If I go down a 2 week hyper focus on Pokemon, that's not really serving me. Right?
But up to this point, you've fully embraced it. Up to this point in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what else do you do? If you don't
Right.
embrace it, you fight it. And life's too
Right.
short to be fighting this shit. You might as well lean in.
Now, do you run into that with a lot of patients? Do you find themselves fighting against it rather than acknowledge it and embracing it and making the best of it, kind of like how you do?
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot because it's frustrating. It is
Hmm.
really frustrating. So people really try to fight against it and they get really, yeah, annoyed and kind of like, what's the word? Like downtrodden. Like, ugh, this is my lot in life. And this is, I don't want it to be this way. So how can I fight it? If I fight it, then I can change it. But what
Right.
people don't realize is that fighting it makes it worse. Now,
Understandable.
that doesn't mean that you can't work with it. Like obviously
Right.
that's my whole point as a coach. Help you work with the way that your brain is designed to work. But,
Hmm.
trying to square peg round hole yourself is just going to leave you exhausted, burnt out, angry,
You're right.
resentful, all of those things. So if you can just kind of lean in, and like I said, two things can exist at the same time.
Right.
I
Two
can
things can be true.
Yeah, I can be
Yeah.
frustrated that my brain is the way that my brain is. And I can also lean in and say, okay, where is the control? Where do I have control over the situation? And then work with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure you key point in that during your classes because you have these meetings, you have these small groups with
Mhm.
women that you meet with consistently. Could you elaborate a little bit on that and how people can get in contact with that just in case they want to join?
Of course. So I work in a couple of different ways. I have a one-on-one coaching program so that, if you and I were to come together, we would work specifically on like your unique brand of ADHD because
Right.
ADHD is a spectrum just like, autism. That's on the neurodivergent spectrum as well. So it's going to
Absolutely.
show up differently for everyone. So, how, his ADHD shows up is going to be different than how my ADHD shows up. Where I
Right.
struggle is going to look different to where, someone else struggles. So we really want to get down to the nitty gritty of what does your day to day struggle look like, and
Right.
how can we manage that. So that's what the one-on-one coaching is for, is to really kind of get down to where do you need support.
So one-on-one individual coaching
Yeah,
and group
yeah,
coaching as well,
yeah.
sessions.
So then group coaching, I do small women's groups and small men groups.
Hmm.
So I did not really go set out to gender them. It just kind of happened that way. And it's been really nice. It's been great for other ADHD women to come together and to see that they're not alone in these
Right.
struggles. And the
That's the
same,
great thing about grouping is that, yeah, to let people know that we're all in this together. You're not alone in this.
you're not
Yeah.
alone. And I think it's
All right.
been really interesting for the men because there's like so much stuff out there for women
Yeah.
for as
And a
far.
lot of men don't like to admit certain characteristics about themselves. They're not so quick to jump out, stick their neck out, and be like, this is what's wrong with me.
Mm-mm,
There's a
no,
lot of pride in that.
there is, but I think I also see that men are coming around to this type of stuff. Like
Hmm.
any given month, half my clientele is men, which I never would have thought. If you would have told me this when
Yeah.
I started,
That's
I would have been
interesting.
like, it's going to be 90% women. I'll get like the random guy here and there.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a good
People are
50-50.
hurt everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where the small men's group kind of came to fruition. Was I was working with all of these men and they really didn't have anybody to talk to about
Right.
what was going on. And it is very different to have, like, me as a coach, as a professional, kind of walking you through this versus a group of your peers that are not in the professional space. They're also there for support, and
Right.
seeing, oh, that shows up for you too. Oh,
Hmm.
that's not me,
Yep.
that my wife has a problem, or I have a
Right.
problem with this or whatever. So yeah,
Relatable.
the small
Yeah.
groups have been really great, and then I also have a community where everybody is in. So that's anybody that I've ever worked with is kind of within this community, and we meet multiple times a week.
Yep.
We've got body doubling sessions. We've got get your shit together Sunday calls where everybody takes a minute and gets their shit together for the week coming
Yeah.
up. That
Momentum
happens
Mondays, right?
on Mondays. Yeah,
Momentum Monday.
that is my email newsletter that goes out. It's Momentum Monday on a Sunday because
Momentum Monday.
we need a little bit more time. So I sent those out on Sundays to give everybody a little bit
Absolutely.
of like a little bit of
Yeah.
a pause. And that's what I mean. A lot of this is taking that pause and
Right.
looking at the awareness. And
Hmm.
ADHD is not your fault, but once you become aware of it, it does become your responsibility. And I think that that's where it kind of showed up for me. Of when I was first diagnosed, I was in my late 20s. I was not surprised by this information. It was like, yeah, okay, well, cool. Give me the drugs and let's fix this. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was it. It was like,
Late 20s. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Understandable.
yeah. But a lot of the people that I work with are not diagnosed until 40s, 50s. I've worked with
That's
people in their
that's one of
60s.
my questions. Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, when I was diagnosed, it was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like I said, just give me the meds. And I did not, what meds did not agree with me. So I went off meds and I was like, well, I tried. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. This is just who I am. And I kind of put that responsibility on other people of like, sorry, I'm just the late friend. Sorry, I'm just the disorganized friend. Sorry, I'm just the emotionally explosive friend.
Hmm.
And then as you get into it, you're like, wait a second, that's not their responsibility. You get exhausted with your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Is what I have found. By the time people come to me and they're ready for coaching, they are so fed up with their own shit.
A victimized type of energy.
That definitely plays into it for sure. But I
Yeah.
think, like I said, by the time people get to me, they're just like, why can't I get my shit together? Why can't I be an adultier adult?
Hmm.
Why did everybody else get a manual to life?
The service you provide so much, I appreciate it tremendously because you dive into those topics. You dive into the sticky but necessary
Yeah.
elements of ADHD And then you break down, you give pointers and tips, and you break down patterns, routines, possibilities, remedies that they can possibly cope with this
Yeah.
throughout their everyday life.
Yeah, and that's kind of the, the kicker is a lot of people, especially ADHDers, we're very like, give us all the answers to everything right now. We want to do everything all at once, everywhere. Whereas if we can kind of take a step back and realize that we're going to do much better with small steps to move
Right,
us to where we want to be versus like quantum leaps,
right.
it's going to be a lot more realistic, and more importantly than realistic, because what the fuck's realistic, but it's going to be more sustainable.
More
So it's
sustainable.
more sustainable to build really small, like laughably small steps, laughably
Yeah.
small habits,
Hmm.
laughably small routines.
Hmm.
And everything comes with a grain of ish. So I'm talking about routines ish, structure ish. We're
Hmm.
not going 100% here. That
Yeah.
is going to stress us out and overwhelm us.
That's too much pressure, right? Yeah.
Pressure.
The ish is very, yeah,
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. It's a big part of it. So, yeah, just looking at what are the things that keep derailing you?
Yeah.
What would make those things easier? So something as little as like I told you, my day started at 6 a.m. So I had the coffee ready to go. I like already grounds were in the thing, water was in the thing. I just had to push the button.
Right.
My water was like in the fridge, ready to go.
Hmm.
My clothes were laid out so that I didn't have to be like, well, what am I gonna wear? Blah blah blah. And all of that the night before takes 10 minutes. The morning of takes 35. I don't know. I know
Absolutely.
the math does not math there, but
Absolutely. It never
it
does in the morning because I get up in the morning early too, and I'm like, where is like time is crazy right now. I have zero time right now.
yeah,
None.
exactly. And so if you can do more of that at night, and as ADHDers and just like as humans, we're more
Yeah.
regulated at night. Things are a bit
Right.
calmer, things are a bit
Hmm.
quieter.
Right.
So lay out your shit, pack your bag to go to work, lay out your
Yeah.
kids' shit, pack the backpack, get it all done, and you can do all of it in 20 minutes versus the next
Mhm.
morning chicken with a head cut off.
It's so much healthier for brain functioning in general. Like you said, for humans in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for humans in general. A lot of people, by the time they get to like the evening, they're like, oh, I can't be bothered. I'm so tired. I'll just do it in the morning. It's like, okay,
Exhausted.
like you're an
Yeah.
adult. You can choose that. Sure. I think it depends on what it is too, right? Like as an artist and a creator, you are probably really excited about your
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Like morning, it's crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. But
Hmm.
you're not excited about laying out your kids' clothes and packing lunches.
Yeah.
Like that's just
Getting
like
ready for.
mundane everyday stuff. And
Yeah.
that's why you can do it in the evening because you don't have to be fully online.
Right. Right.
You can go through the motions of that, of like, all right, we got a t-shirt, we got
Yeah.
some pants, we got a sweater, we got the boots. Okay.
Yeah.
Versus
There's no pressure to creativity.
exactly. Exactly. So knowing that about yourself and saying, okay, wait, if I could just take a few minutes in the evening and have this, like, this is a gift to future Leah. This is a gift to my 6 a.m. self, which is going to be annoyed. I am not a morning
Yeah.
person.
And you
Um,
talk about that concept when you were on the Life Intended podcast
mhm.
with Kelly Berry and Sadie Wackett.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
the?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you spoke on the concept of time blindness, and that was
Yes.
pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, time blindness is really interesting to where ADHDers, and don't ask me to go into the brain science because I am not a neurologist.
The psychological
ADHDers,
power.
yeah, we do not perceive time in the same way. So that's how we can get stuck doing something for 3 hours and be like, no way. I
Mhm.
swear it's only been 20 minutes. We also can't, if we have to leave, we have to be somewhere by noon.
Mhm.
We have a really hard time. Okay, then it's going to take me this long to get ready, this long to get there, this long to park. All of those kind of little details. We're like, oh, it takes 20 minutes to get there, so I need to leave here at 11:40. Well, you don't take into consideration traffic. You don't take into
Hmm.
consideration parking. You don't take
Right.
into consideration walking to the thing. So yeah, time blindness is
It's a real thing.
it's real. It is real. And
That's
ADHD,
fascinating, but it's real. Yeah, I
it,
get it.
it's real. I think people also kind of don't realize how much, like, everybody's like, everybody has a little bit of ADHD. And that is
Hmm.
really harmful. It's really not a great thing to say. And I understand why people say it, right? Because everybody's going to have a little bit of time blindness where they're late once or twice, or
Hmm.
whatever, or a little bit of DMS.
They'll make that comment like, "Oh, that's my ADHD kicking in,"
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so,
or "That's
and I
my
get
OCD" and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand why people would want to say that because, like I said, they know just enough about ADHD to kind of pick out those highlight points of like you said, like, oh, that's my ADHD kicking in.
Right.
But what
Yeah.
people don't understand is that ADHD, it takes all the executive functions. So, time management, self awareness, impulse control, emotional regulation, planning and prioritizing, organization, and they're all layered on top of each other, right?
Hmm.
So, when it's like a domino effect, you
Gotcha.
don't have super strong self awareness, so you don't, realize that you're struggling with planning and prioritizing. And you struggle with planning and prioritizing, and therefore your organization struggles. And then you struggle with organization, and therefore your time management struggles. And
Mm.
so ADHD is really to the extent and the intensity of the impact. So it impacts every aspect of our lives all day long.
So it's an overlap for sure.
Massive. It's like
And the
a it's like
preparation is more like, yeah, driving something with air brakes rather than regular brakes, right? You have to stop a half a mile before your
yeah.
destination rather than.
Well, and there's a saying that ADHD brains have like a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes.
Hmm.
So like
There
we
you
can
go.
go, but it's that pause and that self reflection and future planning. They're
Yeah,
really hard for us. We've got, our time works in now and not now.
yeah.
And
So
that's
preparation may be the biggest thing to you, waking up every morning and
right.
preparing for, yeah, the everyday life.
Like I said, I really
Yeah.
recommend that people do it the night before as far as preparation goes. So not only
Hmm.
like laying out your stuff and packing your lunches and all of that, but look at your calendar. And that's why we
Factual.
have like in the
Yeah,
membership, that's why we have Get Your Shit Together Sundays. What does tomorrow look like? You're at the end of the weekend. What
yeah,
does Monday look like? What's your week look like? Do you have that doctor
yeah.
appointment? What are the kids up to at school? What's going on? It gives you that pause on purpose.
So look ahead for sure.
Yeah.
All the
Pause.
time though, 24/7.
Yeah, and imagine what that would like. Yes and no, because constantly looking ahead, that's going to stress you out and give you anxiety.
So now the balance is off. Yeah.
It's the balance, right? So you've got to
Yeah.
find those moments of I'm in the moment, I'm living
Right.
my life, I'm with my clients, I'm with my kids, I'm with friends, family, I'm doing the things. But at night, when I get into bed, I'm going to write down what I need to do tomorrow. What are the things that are on my calendar? What are the static things that are not moving? I have this call with you. I need to make sure that I am here, that I am on time, and that I am ready. And I'm not just, oh, I mean, I know that our timing was a little bit off today, but, just being like, this is something that's really important and other people are counting on me. So I need to
Right.
make sure that I am prepared for that. Right.
Understandable.
And same thing with, I work with so many parents that there's so much goes on at school, and we got Spirit Day, and we got
Absolutely.
Valentine's coming up, and we got to bring this, and we got to make sure nothing's got nuts, and like, you've got all that kind of stuff. So take a little bit of time at the end of your day and just look at tomorrow. What's tomorrow look like? Oh shit, I've
Hmm.
got that dentist appointment at 11. I totally forgot. Okay.
Hmm.
Now you reminded
So
yourself.
how many calendars and charts and emails do you keep up with? Is it
So
simple? Simpler the better?
you talk about less is more.
Less more, yeah.
Is 100% less is more when it comes to yeah, calendars and planners and all of that kind of stuff. So I live and die
Right.
by my Google Calendar. If Google
Hmm.
ever goes under, your girl's drowning with it.
Yeah.
So I live and die by my Google Calendar and then my reminders app. And then if I'm really feeling froggy and I want to put some pen to paper, I have one notebook for everything. Just one for everything. This is where everything goes. This is
So
where
you're
everything
like
goes.
old school journalist, yeah.
Yeah, but even just like if I feel like writing down my grocery list or my to-do list or whatever, because so many people are like, oh, I have like 15 different notebooks. And I'm like, and how the
Hmm.
fuck is that working out for you? Terrible. You can
Right.
never find which one you wrote one in. So it's just like when you unload your dishwasher,
Hmm.
your silverware goes in the same spot every time. Your coffee mugs go in the same spot every time. So that when you're going and looking for a coffee mug, you know which cabinet to look in.
So
It's the
repetition
same
helps, and
thing. It's the
yeah,
same thing with our thoughts.
right.
You need one place for them to go. Tops two,
I
right?
agree
That's
with
it.
that. Like just generally, in general speaking, I feel like
Yeah.
that's good for everybody.
Yeah. If you're externalizing your brain, and you should be, especially if you have ADHD, because working memory is also one of those executive functions that we struggle with. So externalize, externalize, externalize. Within my coaching practice, we deal a lot with experiments. So if you're struggling to sleep, yeah, let's experiment with some shit. Do those sounds help you? Does that like drive you crazy? Do you do better with like a sleep story?
Yeah.
Do you have a chat with your doctor and you can do a little touch of melatonin or, something like that. Also,
Right.
back to basics. What do your basics look like? How much water are you getting throughout your day? How
Hmm.
are you feeding yourself? Are you forgetting to eat and then you're just grabbing whatever you can find that is not really making you feel good? And this is not about a diet situation. I don't give a shit what you're eating. I just
It's
want it to
not
be fueling your brain and helping you feel good. What kind of
right.
movement are you getting throughout your day? Are you
Hmm.
just sedentary and just sitting here and then going home and, sitting on the couch? Yeah, of course you're not tired. You haven't done anything with your, and I'm not talking you got to run a marathon every day. We're not talking about that. No, no thank you.
Just the
But
experimental part of understanding yourself.
yeah, just, like I said, just getting back to those basics of food, water, movement, sunlight, and sleep. Those are your
Mm.
five basics. And look at how those are showing up for you. How late are you on your phone? Right? And I know that these are like, fuck off. I don't want to hear about it. Don't tell me. Yeah, okay, sweet. Again, you have a choice. You are a full-grown autonomous adult. You can do whatever you want. But it's difficult to be like, oh my God, I can't sleep at all when you have the entire universe this close to your face
Right.
until 2 in the morning. Like again, there's
Yeah.
no morality tied to that. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that your sleep is going to suffer,
Absolutely.
right? So,
How,
you again, what's in your control?
right. So environment plays a major factor.
100%.
Yeah.
Environment does. So, like I said in the beginning, ADHD, you are born with it. It is a neurodevelopmental disorder, but your environment will play a big role. We all know those kids that grew up that probably were neurodivergent and they did not have the support at home
Hmm.
or at school or anywhere.
Right.
They had caregivers that were just like, get your shit together. Why are you so lazy? And why are you so stupid? And all of that. That's
Mm.
obviously not a conducive environment for
Yeah.
anyone.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but if you're already struggling and you can't figure out why can't I keep up with my peers? Why do they do things differently than me? And then you have
Hmm.
caregivers that are reinforcing that.
Right.
Obviously, it's gonna versus caregivers that are a bit more understanding or understand a diagnosis, what that looks like, and same things as we get older, as we age. So,
So how much did
environment.
you deal with that as far as keeping that healthy energy around you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I think some of us, your personality is kind of part of it, and some of us get a bit, I don't know, luckier than others as far as how our disposition goes in
True.
that sense. So I think I've been lucky enough to always have just a bit more of like an upbeat, yeah, whatever, like not that big of a deal. Like I'm not going to get bogged down, and that doesn't mean that I don't, have moments of depression, moments of anxiety, moments of other mental health struggles. But I've been lucky enough to be able to be like, kind of just let things flow by. Other people really struggle with that.
But it shows how
And
strong of a person you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that, and I do appreciate that, but I think that there is some, we have to be careful with that because that suggests to other people that they are weak. And that's not necessarily the case, right? And so we don't ever want to make anybody feel like
True,
you don't handle
true,
things like I do and therefore you're weak,
true.
right? That
I
doesn't
like
mean
that.
that, yeah, it doesn't mean that, yeah, like I
But I
am
like that
strong.
consideration too, right there, especially as a coach. Yeah, you have to have that consideration.
You really, yeah, you really,
Terminology, things that could, enter your chakras or, that could give you, what's that shock.
well, yeah, we don't want to, as much as possible, we don't want to deregulate nervous systems. And
Hmm.
that can kind of go into like you said, like a little bit of like some woo woo stuff and whatever. But
Yeah.
again, people that have grown up neurodivergent have dealt with this in some form or fashion, especially people of our generation.
Hmm.
So I want to be, as much as I can, a safe place for people to land
Yeah.
of you are not broken, you are not lazy, you are not
Yeah.
weak. It is not that you're not trying hard enough or that you don't care. You've just never been given the support and the tools to meet yourself where you're at. And
Right.
so that's
Like
what
you
we're
said,
going to,
some people don't even get diagnosed until they're 50, 60. I mean, that's unbelievable.
and so they just go through their whole lives thinking that they're fuck ups.
Right.
And that's
And then
terrible.
you have these surroundings and these environments and individuals at times often misunderstand them, often classify them, you know what I mean?
They
Often label
misunderstand
them.
themselves. Yeah, I mean, I
Hmm.
think a lot of this, the first step to transformation is awareness. And
Hmm.
so people
Right.
have to become aware of, oh, because I think a lot of people do think, well, I guess I am lazy. I guess I just don't give a shit.
Right.
And then when you can actually realize what's going on and you have the language to put to some of this stuff,
Hmm.
that's where the empowerment can come from. ADHD still sucks,
Yeah.
but you have a little bit more empowerment to go with it.
I
And
think it's
then you,
incredible how you could balance everything out too with you being an advocate on top of being diagnosed and having the ability to peel back these layers.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, that comes with doing this work day in, day out
Hmm.
for years now, working with other people. And I've been so blessed, really, that people have trusted me to hold
Hmm.
space in this way and to bring me into these really complex, nuanced journeys. And
Right.
yeah, that, people allow me to kind of walk through this with them and support them
Right.
and, ultimately help them to the other side.
You've obviously related to people. I mean, they can relate to you. You're transparent. Your
Yeah.
communication skills is clear enough to where people can understand you the way you break it down. And I think even that is important because the brain functioning part of
It is. And like I said, I think it's really important to give people language like time blindness,
right.
like,
Yeah.
RSD, which is something a lot of us struggle with, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria, where any
Hmm.
kind of perceived criticism or rejection feels like a gut, a punch to the stomach.
Right.
A lot of us struggle with that. So being able to have the terminology of like, oh shit, that's what that is.
Hmm.
Now I can kind of walk myself through it when I feel it, when I notice it. I have the awareness that this is what's happening. I have the awareness of this is how my brain works. It doesn't mean that I'm always going to use that tool, as
Right.
far as like prepping myself the night before. Yeah,
Right.
that would be great if I did that 100% of the time, but 100% is not the goal,
Right.
right?
The
80% of the
ish.
time I'm on my shit.
That's where the
The
ish comes
ish.
in. The ish.
That's where the issue is.
The
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah. So 80% of the time, 80% of the time I'm on top of my shit. 20% of the time, dumpster fire on rollerblades. It is
Right.
what it is.
So how has this impacted things like relationships and things of that nature? Has that been big in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it has been big for me. It's not been as big as it has been for people that I have worked with.
Right.
I think that especially if you are an ADHDer and you are with a non-ADHDer or somebody that's more neurotypical, you really do have to figure out, okay, wait, where are my struggles and how can I communicate them? And for a lot of people, that is really hard to do. People do not want to admit their struggles to themselves or anybody else.
Right.
Right? So being able to have communication within relationships, I mean, obviously within yourself as well, is probably the biggest part of it. I just had a chat with a client about, sometimes she just feels they've got a 2-year-old at home and she just feels kind of like out of sorts. And she's like, I know that my partner loves me and that we're fine, but I just have these days where I'm like, this is not going to work. He hates me. And I'm like, do you talk to him? And she's like, no, like I feel silly, or I feel this. And it's like, we have to figure out ways to advocate for ourselves. And that can feel very uncomfortable and very
Absolutely.
unfamiliar.
Tug of war with emotions and communication, and then the other side, whoever it is you're having a relationship with, the understanding of it and the misunderstanding. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I've worked in the past with couples. So one of them is an ADHDer and one of them is not, and helping the ADHDer with their own struggles and then helping the other partner understand what
Right.
that person is going through, especially if they've been together a long time
Mm-hmm.
and the neurotypical partner is fed up and like, nah, they're just lazy, piece of shit, don't care, blah, 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 blah. To have someone else come in and say, hey, this is what's actually going on, it can really help validate the experience for everybody, because the neurotypical partner also is allowed to be annoyed and allowed to be fed up.
What would you say to someone that typically needs help but has trouble reaching out, or is afraid, or feels awkward or weird, or
I would say you can stay where you are, keep doing the same shit you've been doing, which is white knuckling it, doing it by yourself,
Mhm.
thinking this time will be different,
Yeah,
and staying stuck. That is a
yeah,
choice. Totally fine. Or you can do something that feels a little bit uncomfortable and just see how it changes your life, really.
fact. Because some people may even know they may even know the move, but haven't made the move yet, out of fear, out
Yeah.
of uncertainty.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's one of those things where, okay, so you reach out for coaching, you have a couple of chats, you don't really feel that much different. Okay. Well, then you're in the same spot you are now.
Hmm.
Or more than likely, you're in a better spot than when you started. And that's the whole thing. It's like, do you want to continue being miserable, or do you want to try something a little bit different? And when it comes to coaching, especially the one-on-one stuff, if you don't want to, you don't have to tell a single soul that you are doing that. I have, client confidentiality, so I'm not telling anybody. Like, if that is something that is really holding you back, please do not let that be the case. Reach out, have a conversation, see what it does for your self-esteem, see what it does for your self-trust, see what
Right,
it does to move that needle by even just 1%.
right.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, 1% change is sometimes that's a major difference. It's a
It
start,
really
right?
is. And if you compound that 1%, what does that
Hmm.
look like at the end of the year?
Right, like you said, steps rather than a massive
Yeah.
explosion at once, right?
Well, it's just like if you're training for a marathon, you're
Yeah,
not going to go out. Well, some people will. You're not going to, go out and run 10 miles your first time out
right.
the door.
Hmm.
And again, you could probably do that. Maybe there's you're pretty athletic. You could probably do that and not die. But that's not going to be sustainable. So if you really want to train, or, bench pressing,
Fourth quarter.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you want to start like upping your weight there, you don't just go to the gym and you're like, load them up, boys. Like, you're going to hurt yourself.
Right, right.
You want to start small, build that muscle. It's the same thing with our brains.
Hmm.
It's the same thing with working in new habits, dismantling old habits, fitting in systems. all of that is neuroplasticity, and that is hard work. You're literally like carving new pathways in your brain. It's hard,
How the
but
brain works is it's just incredible.
yeah, it's wild. It's absolutely insane.
It's like this big
And if
muscle.
you
It's just
Yeah. And if you ever would have told me, even 5 years ago, that I would be here running a business, like helping other people on a daily basis, I would have been like, you're unwell and you don't know Jack.
and you live in Germany. There's
And I
perks
live
on
in
that.
the,
There's perks to that, right?
yeah, there are definitely perks to that for sure.
What do you enjoy most about Germany? Is
Hmm.
that a sharp environment right now that you feel like that's aiding and assisting your professionalism and your peace?
Yeah, I mean, I would say living in Germany, Germany is, I mean, I live in like a teeny tiny little Bavarian village, basically. So
Hmm.
it's not like I live in Berlin or, Munich or Frankfurt or anything like that. I live in a small town. The pace of life is quite a bit different, which sometimes can feel really boring and like I'm going to go crazy. And then other times is really good to force the slowdown.
Right.
There is not as much of like hustle and grind,
Hmm.
which I know some people love. My nervous system does not react well to hustle and grind. Not that I am not hustling and grinding,
Yeah,
but
'cause you
not in the
grinding
way.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm on the
Yeah.
grind, but it's just different. It's different than it is in the
Right.
States, and being here. So I think there's that aspect, and then the nature of where, like, I live in the Alps, so we are
Oh,
in the
nice.
mountains. Yeah, like, I'm not a very good skier, but I attempt. I was skiing like right before I left.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not great, but I'll give it a
Hitting the
go.
slopes.
Yeah, hitting the slopes, little ski bunny.
Hit the slopes.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that kind of stuff. Like a lot of people, when I'm here, it's like, let's get together for lunch or for dinner or for happy hour. And
Right.
there, it's like, let's get together for a hike or this or that. So it's just it's quite a bit different. And like I said, it's not as like go 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 there. So I do
Hmm.
when I'm there, my work is really my focus, and when I'm here, I'm being pulled in so many different directions, which is beautiful, and it's
Wow.
such a good problem to have. But it's
America's a
interesting that
big hustle.
America is a big something. It is a big.
Do you enjoy early flights or late flights? Which one do you prefer?
Well, so both. It's interesting because it's always the same. So whenever I fly here, it is always like a morning, early afternoon flight, which works out really well because then I stay up the entire flight. I don't sleep on the flight. It's a 9-hour flight. So I
Hmm.
stay up and then I land and I like get a bite to eat and then I'm exhausted and I go to sleep. And so that helps me get on this time zone. Not
Right.
that it's great. I still have jet lag. And then the opposite, going back, I usually leave out of Louisville at like 2 in the afternoon, and then I have a layover somewhere, and then I'm on the flight at like 5 or 6 p.m., and then I
Hmm.
go to sleep. And then I
Uh,
land in Germany at 7 a.m., and I've slept on the flight, hopefully,
oh,
not always. And so again,
right.
to try to get back on that time zone. So yeah, I don't really mind. It doesn't, I don't know. Doesn't, I
Because
don't,
you're gonna take a
either
nap
way,
regardless. Yeah.
I'm going to have a window seat and I'm going to take a nap regardless, but you're going to be exhausted, whichever, it doesn't matter. Like
Mhm.
either way, going that time difference of 6 hours, it's definitely not the worst I've ever had, but it'll rock you a little bit for
I'm
sure.
Zach.
So yeah. And
Coffee or cappuccino?
cappuccino. I need a little bit of coffee with my milk and sugar.
So kind of like a little
Yeah.
mix. Throw that milk in there.
Yeah, no, I need like I normally it is coffee, milk, and maple syrup. I'm
Maple
basically
syrup.
Buddy the Elf. So, yeah, that is how I drink my morning coffees.
Interesting. I do the
Yeah.
coffee, a little bit of creamer, and honey. That's my little.
Ooh, I used to do honey, but I like maple syrup better. Yeah.
I haven't tried the
Yeah,
maple
I have to
syrup.
have it. You
Fire.
will never go back. It's
Word.
delicious. It's so good. It's my favorite. So, yeah.
How about, I have to ask you this because society is forcing me. iPhone or Android?
iPhone, 100%, hands down. I have, since the iPhone came out, I've never had another phone,
Yeah.
and I
You're a smart
refuse.
person for sure.
Yeah, I will not do it.
You're on
Well,
the
and I
right
have a
team.
Mac. Yeah, I have a Mac as well, so everything is synced and all of that. So yeah,
That's how I am.
iPhone.
I got the Mac, I got the whole nine, the iPad.
Yeah, hundred
iPhone
percent.
game. What's wrong with them
Yeah.
out there? Why wouldn't they be?
No, I can't even begin to imagine. I can't.
Yeah, what's wrong? I
No way.
don't know what's wrong with them. Chicken wings. Do you eat chicken wings?
I do eat chicken wings, and I saw this. I've seen this on your
You
podcast
see,
before,
so
so
you know what's on the way there.
I know what's on the way.
Drums or flats?
Okay, so just like off the cuff drums for sure. Like I'm a drum girl. Now, with that said,
Word.
I understand the logic behind flats.
Do
I
you
get
break it
it
down for the people?
because you can like just break them in half and then rip all that meat off the bone and then dunk and then whole thing. So I
Yeah.
get the logic behind the flats, but I didn't get that logic for a really long time. So like default tried and true drums.
That's remarkable. So it's the accessibility of ripping it and dump.
Yeah, you just rip it off and then you got this whole
Yeah,
like little chunk of meat and like whatever.
yeah.
But like I said, my
Honey
default
mustard.
like in my heart, it's the drums. Yeah.
The drum squad. I like the word. It's been a little minute since I got the drum. Yeah. So, discipline or motivation? Which one is more important to you throughout everyday life?
That's a really interesting question, especially as it applies to ADHD,
Hmm.
because I am in the camp that motivation is bullshit. I am never going to be motivated to do the dishes. I am never going to be motivated to clean my toilets.
Hmm.
That is like not, I don't give a shit about those things. They have to be done, obviously, but the
Right.
motivation to do that, not so much. ADHDers are much more driven by momentum. So if I can get going,
Hmm.
that is where I'm going to find kind of that stride. And you've got two camps, people that low hanging fruit. So I'm going to start with, whatever that easiest task is. Maybe it's wiping down the counter, maybe it's cleaning the mirror, and then go to scrubbing the toilet. Or what is known as eat the frog. And eat the frog is doing the hardest thing first. So I'm just going to clean the toilet, get that out of the way. It's my least favorite task. So let's just start there, get it done, and then I can be done with it and move on. So those are
This,
kind of the two camps. But so in that way, I would say, yeah, probably discipline, even though that's really not in my repertoire either. I'm going with momentum. Momentum is
yeah,
the way to go.
I think
And
momentum
I
is the
tell you,
word for you. Yeah.
yeah. So when we were talking about earlier of like planning your day the night before, give
Right.
yourself a momentum task. What's the first thing you're going to do when you sit down at your computer?
Hmm. So
What's
the
the first
preparation.
thing you're going to do when you get home from dropping the kids off at school so that you don't just sit on the couch and get stuck into doom scrolling for 3 hours? Give
Hmm.
yourself a momentum task to get started. And then
So as a
usually you can
jump
keep going.
shooter, so as a jump shooter in basketball, to get the rhythm going, you will
Hmm.
start with the layup, right? Boom,
Yes.
gets it off the glass.
Yeah.
Then you can
Yeah.
go mid range and start taking jump shots and splashing trays, and there you go.
Exactly. So yeah,
I
get
mean,
the momentum built and then you can keep going.
that's very interesting. So yeah, I appreciate your time. Where can people contact you at, Leah?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at adhd.coach.leah. You can
Hmm.
also check out my website. It is leahccoaching.com. And you can contact me via email. I also offer everybody a free 45-minute kind of introduction call. So if
Hmm.
you're on the fence about, oh, I don't really know, I don't know what this would feel like, I don't know if I've got, the time, the resources, everybody always gets a free 45-minute call. And you can find that, like I said, on my website or on Instagram as well.
Nice. I encourage anybody that's curious about anything to go ahead and reach out and yeah, take advantage of the resource that you have available.
Definitely. And you can subscribe to that Momentum Monday. It's my free email. It goes out every Sunday. It's different kind of tips, tricks, mindset resets, all of that kind of stuff to help support you in your ADHD management.
So, like, what's the most satisfaction that you get out of coaching? I didn't get to ask you that earlier, but what do you find the satisfactory of it all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot. Like this is definitely the most purpose driven and fulfilled I've ever felt in my entire life, and I never thought that it would happen.
That's awesome,
Just
though.
with being, yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredible. So I'm really lucky there. I mean, I love all of it. I love, like I said, I was just having a chat with a client right before this, and she was just like, she got really emotional, and she was like, I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that, like, I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. And like, inherently, we know that. We know we're not the only, people out here with ADHD or the only moms struggling with this, but to hear it and to be able to
Right.
connect with somebody
Yes.
that validates that experience, I love being that kind of pillar of support for people and
Hmm.
helping people see and have those aha moments. I love watching people take these small steps. And like I have one client who, she was that perpetually late friend. She was late everywhere she went. And she's not that person. She's on time now. And she's
Right.
like, I can't believe that this is my reality. She's
So it's
63 years old.
right. Oh, wow,
Like,
amazing. So to be a
and she's
witness
like,
of that progression, witness of their
yeah,
growth, nice.
yeah.
And just to be that, like you said, that sincere connectivity.
Yeah, definitely. I
Mm.
love my membership, being able to bring people together in a group setting. So again, everybody can learn from everybody. It's not just me kind of speaking from my, I have a lot of lived experience, but it's not all the lived experience. And so bringing in other people like that, I don't have kids. So
Mhm.
I want other people that know what that experience feels like with ADHD. I don't live in the States anymore. What does that feel like? Most of my
Right.
clients are in the UK. I don't live in the UK. What does that feel like? So being able to kind of bring people together that have different experiences and different thoughts, suggestion, advice, whatever, is
And you're
paramount to
and
the
you're
work
not
that I
taking your gift for granted, because like how artists can channel and come with these energies and frequencies, you have the gift to connect and to relate
do. Yeah,
and to be transparent and to make people feel comfortable about what other people may look at as a flaw or a disconnect. So I think
right.
hats off to that. This is cool. I appreciate your time being graceful. I'm sure you got clients calling you, wearing you out, hitting your email like, Leah, where are you at? Let's chat. So I appreciate you being gracious
Yep.
with your time. Thank you for joining the show. Let's get the business, of course.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yo, 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 let's get the business.